Hi everyone, welcome back to the cider shed. It's Chris, Cork and Crown. Going to try some cider with some cheese today. I'm going to try a cider that I don't sell, that I got actually in the supermarket, Waitrose actually, because I'm interested in trying things from different places and comparing them to the things that I sell. And so, is there a difference between the larger producer and the smaller producer? And even with the largest producers, there's a hierarchy of who's. These are better than these guys are better than these guys. These guys are a bit more traditional than these guys. So there's different, even within sort of large producers and small producers. Actually, there's almost like there's so many variations in how you can do things that every producer does something different and interesting. So it's worthwhile trying everything. So the one I'm going to try is from Sheppy's. There you go. They're in Somerset, Taunton, I believe. This is their 200th anniversary special edition. 5%. I'll just read what it says in the back. Doobie-doobie-doo. Sheppy's 200 special edition cider celebrates the Sheppy family's 200 years and 6 generations of cider making. And it's made from a blend of the very finest traditional cider apples. So, we're going to assume they're all proper cider varietals, not culinary apples. What else does it say? Yeah, still family owned. The Sheppy still make this stuff. Don't know if it's been bought out by anybody else, but it doesn't seem to be that. It seems to be that they're still, it's still a family business. So we're going to try that with a bit of cheese. And the bit of cheese we're going to try it with is called Beaufort, and it is from the French Alps, from the Savoie. I was round Jane and John, who kind of run Mons Cheesemongers. I went round to their house today to have a meeting about something cheese related, and they had a big chunk of Beaufort sitting on the side that they were scoffing, and I said, can I have a chunk of that? Take it home and try it with some cider. I took them some cider samples as well. And they said, yeah, all right. And I was expecting a little sliver, but they actually gave me quite a big chunk. That's quite very generous of them, so thank you. Jane specifically, who chopped this off and chopped it off and wrapped it up for me. So Beaufort Alpine cheese, it's in the Gruyere family. I think I mentioned when we talked about Comté that it was that Gruyere is a family of cheeses, and they're cheeses which are cooked curd. You heat the milk up to a very high temperature for cultural reasons, historical reasons, which I won't go into. But to do that, you needed a lot of wood. So Gruyères were woody areas that were cut down. They were tended to by guys called Gruyerists, I think, and they would tend to the forest, cut down the trees, give it to the cheesemakers who would pay, for the wood with cheese. So Gruyere comes from the wood that they used to burn to heat the milk up to high temperatures, and Comté is a Gruyere, Gruyere is a Gruyere, etc. So both are big things. You can tell, you can't really see on this actually, but so this cheese, that's about half of the bit. You can see it's slightly concave. That's how you spot a Beaufort. Most of the cheeses will be slightly convex. This is concave. The saying goes, and these are big boys, like 35, 40 kilos, big cheeses. But to get them down the mountain, they used to wrap rope around them, put them over like the side of a horse, a pannier sort of style, take it down the mountain. That's why it was concave, for the ropes. That's something I've been told and heard a lot. So there might be other reasons for that to happen, but that's how you spot a Beaufort. Anyway, it's got the concave rather than convex side to it. So, what should we try first? Let's try the cider first. Let's do the cider. This is a cider show. I keep wanting to say show. It's just me in my shed. You know what I mean. So the Sheppy's, let's open it up. I can tell by looking at this is filtered already. I suspected it was carbonated. It came out of the fridge. I keep doing this. Came straight out of the fridge at 4. I brought it down the shed. Went back into the house. Put the hot tap on. Held it under the tap for about 30 seconds to a minute. I've got to start doing that with all the ciders really, so they're not too cold. So I actually gave this a little bit of a warm bath just to get some temperature into it. So it's cold. It's not as cold as it was though, by any stretch. Weapon of choice number 1. Boom. I can smell it already. Actually, quite aromatic. Tasting glass. Let's pour it out. Quite pale in colour, straight off the bat. Very pale in colour. I think you'll notice with most of the ciders that I do, it's got a bit more colour to them. I think maybe that's from the apples browning a little bit. Tannins react with the oxygen if you let them sit, like apples go brown. So you do that, you get a bit of colour in it. I would say this has not happened. It has not happened to this. It is pale gold. I think that's pretty much bang on what it is, pale gold. Yep, don't know if you can see that. actually, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Oh, I've got this thing, which if I turn it around, I keep forgetting to do this. There you go, that's better. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. So I'd say that is pale gold. Yeah. Let's have a sniff. So, quite perfumey. So there's a nice apple in there. I wouldn't say aged apple, but a fresh red apple, I would say, smell. But it makes me think it's almost like a confectionery sugar sort of element to it as well. Yeah. So maybe a hint of pastry, bit of confectionery sugar, sort of red apple, fresh red apple. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Right, let's have a taste. Okay, solid tannins on my teeth. So soft tannin, nice and squeaky. It does not say, it does not qualify whether it is sweet, medium or dry. As I've said many times before, it's down at the palate of the cider maker to decide whether something is sweet, medium or dry. In this country, anyway. So some mediums will be sweeter than others, some will be drier than others, depends on the palate of the person who's made it and decided that's a medium or whatever. This is quite sweet. That confectionery, yeah, confectionery sugar sweetness I'm getting off it a little bit. Icing sugar, basically. Okay. Okay. Nice tannin. Quite light. I would say the apple character is very light on the palate. It is almost like a confectionery apple sort of intensity, so not that intense. Quite a lot of sweetness. Zero acidity. Zero acidity, which makes this quite flabby. You'll hear that term used a lot for wines. Like a flabby wine is a wine which lacks acidity. Lots of fruit but no acidity, which makes it cloying. That seems to be par for the course for a lot of like the bigger producers, it seems to be. Yeah, no hard tannin on the back, so no leatheriness or bitterness, like good bitterness to balance the sweetness. Bit disappointed. Let's see if we can make up for it with some cheese. Okay, second weapon of choice. Come on. Cheese knife. Right. So, you expect Alpine cheeses like this, which are cut curd. They have less acidity when they're in the vat, which means they retain more calcium, which makes them more pliable, more bendy. The curds are cut very small, which means when you put it in a mould, it gets a very dense, smooth texture. And that heating, that cooking of the curd gives you thermophilic activity, propionic bacteria, which gives like a sweetness. They also give you a little bit of butyric acid, a hint, which is basically sick. That's what, like bile, that's what that is. But very small amounts, so it actually works. What else does it give? Yeah, so it gives you sweetness, a little bit of, also, but not much acidity. It tends to be lower acid, sweeter, richer, denser cheeses. Let's have a taste of this fella. So the nose is like, ooh, a propionic smell I'm getting. So it's kind of, there's a butteriness to it. There's a sweetness to it. It's like almost like a sweet meatiness to it. Yeah, there is almost like a yeasty element to it as well. Let's try it. Smooth texture. Dense, smooth taste. Coats your palate. Nice fats. There's that sweetness that I was talking about. Definitely there. Bit of salt as well. Nice in there, integrated salt. Balances the sweetness brilliantly. And then you get like almost like a, I wouldn't say like a chicken stock cube, kind of, or a roast chicken flavoured crisp sort of flavour coming through, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. We like that. In fact, yeah, I'm going to go for roast chicken flavoured crisps. Nice. Let's see how the salt in this might help balance out the sugar in this. They set each other off quite well. But this is quite a low acid cheese. There's not much acidity in this. So, I'm going to get a bit more in my mouth. And then I'm going to do what's called like a cement mixer thing. Mix them both together at once. Cheese is great, really good. Actually, it's big enough. It's not over the top. It's not super imposing. It's not super strong. You can't ignore it. It's assertive, but gosh, you could eat an awful lot of it. That cheese is too good for this. I'm sorry, it's just too good for it. Straight with a bit of dry Kingston Black from Greg's Pate. Whoa, loads more funk. Loads more going on the nose. Cut another bit off. So if I'm going to have this great cheese, I'm going to try it with something from a smaller interesting producer. I hate saying bad things about producers. It's Jamaican thing. I mean, take a lot of pride in it, I assume. But sometimes things are disappointing. What can I say? That works loads better straight away. Loads better. It hasn't got as much tannin, but it's got a bit more acidity. There's a bit of funk in there. It certainly works with that cheese. Yeah. This isn't a massive in-your-face cider, but it's certainly got more complexity than the Sheppy's by some margin. And that cheese has complexity. And to be honest, it's a much better partnership. Much better partnership. I want to have a drink of that, piece of that, drink of that, piece of that. Keep going until I run out. That's what I want to do. The Sheppy's, one last go. Yeah, it's just that confectionery thing on the nose. It just feels a little bit fake. Yeah, it's all right. The tannins help it massively. If it didn't have the tannins, it would be massively disappointing. It would taste like quite commercial, like edging on like Strongbow or something. If it didn't have those tannins in it, that's a terrible thing to say. Anyway, how about that? So, guys, thank you for watching. If you can get hold of some Beaufort, I recommend you do it. Go to Mon's Cheesemongers, go to their online shop, buy a chunk. It's delicious, and it's the same stuff as the one I just tried. Okay, so, that was good. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, I will keep on drinking the Sheppy's. I will finish it. And I'll be back with some more cheese, cider, something in the near future. Until then, cheers.